episode 0008 of Marketing RV. You didn't expect me to start, did you?
Wait, are we live?
Yeah, we're live, man.
Hold on. Did you order food?
No.
What are you doing?
I'm talking to you. We're going to start the show. These guys are going to order.
Okay.
Because this is, we're still at, we didn't say this in the last episode.
What?
We're at the Fabio's.
All right, so listen, all right, let's do this real quick. Ready? Watch, let's do the, what, can you not hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you're giving me the hands.
Yeah, because I need you to talk into your mic, not over
for
it.
Christ's sake.
I know, I'm such a pain in the rear.
Oh, and I shouldn't say that. We're going to, okay, never mind. I shouldn't curse. She's doing the sign of the cross like my mom. Oh, my God. All right, so we should, let's do this real quick. Ready?
What are we doing?
I'm going to let you, this is the great part about doing podcasts. So we're live again from DeFabio's. So you can just take that piece right there and section and edit it into the last episode.
I'm not going to do it.
You should. If you're really concerned about us giving credit to the Fabios.
We'll give them credit. We'll give them the credit online, but I just thought...
All right, all that crap. You
just
wasted 2.5 seconds of this show. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Well, what's interesting about being at the Fabios tonight, so not only do we have Adam Garson here with us, because, we do 2 shows when we're out. Adam just gave us a great interview, gave us a lot of information about intellectual property, copyrights.
www.copyrightistheshit.com.
What?
Is that not his website?
No.
Oh, tell them website.
Adam-Garson. No,
he's cringing. He's actually cringing, yeah. No.
What was that, Gene? You really want to be a rapper, don't you?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
No, stop
So
it.
what's really cool about here, so we're into Fabio's in Media, PA, everybody's hometown, woo. And Sterling Pig representatives were here. That's a brewery that opened up in Media on the west side or south side or whatever you want to call that.
I am relying on your geography skills.
I know where it is down Route 1. It would be a south on Route 1, but don't they call that south. West Media or something? Maybe.
I don't know.
Whatever.
She went to the attorney for that.
The Sterling Pig, well, he has
Smart
an
move.
office in Media.
Smart
so
move.
That's why,
No, smart move.
Garson-law.com. Oh, you've been to the Sterling Pig? You like it? It's good? So he knows the owner. This is great.
Oh, that is actually good. And, by the way, they just opened a new one in Westchester.
Oh, okay.
Just last week. Yeah, they had a soft open like 3 weeks ago. And they just opened. I was talking to her about it. Megan. She's the sales rep. Yep.
Yep. Megan, what's her last name?
I don't know.
Armor. I can't see well. So, and it's a little dark in here.
Okay.
But what's cool is, so Megan gives Gene a beer. She's giving out free beer, and Gene couldn't be happier, right? Then he tells her about his other podcast I'm co-promoting here, which
Barbells and Brews,
which is going to start real soon.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, next couple weeks.
And you're going to be where?
Actually, by the time this episode airs, it's probably going to be live. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Barbell and Brews and Barbells and Brew.
Barbells, multiples, and Brews, which of course multiples. That goes without saying.
Okay.
Right.
So you asked Megan to bring a 6-pack.
Yep.
She's also bringing about 7 girlfriends and going to work out that night.
Yeah.
This is so cool. This is why you need to come out to see our podcast live and be part of this and follow us each week. So Paul Ladd did that, and he came from Nashville just to be in Media with us. He made a special trip just to be here. Okay. He didn't make a special trip just to be here, but because he was in the area, he's on our show. Because when you said you were coming out to see us, you didn't even know I was going to put you on the air, did you?
I did not know till I saw something on Facebook, and I said, hey, that's great, because I know you've done several shows in the past, and I listen regularly, and everybody that's listening today, you should listen to this podcast on a regular basis. You will learn stuff. Have your notebook handy.
See, I love that. What a great plug. He recently plugged my book, Impact, too, which was really nice. And
it is a great book, and I highly recommend that for anyone who is speaking, maybe if you have to give a speech on the job, or maybe if you do it a lot of handy tips in a very compact volume and very simple, so simple even I could understand it.
And what's great is that Paul's a lifelong broadcaster, and he's looking at my public speaking tip book,
So listen, a couple things. So first of all, he's got a great cadence.
Yeah,
right?
Well,
so
obviously he's a broadcaster.
You can taste that, right? But the one thing I do want to pick out there is I love how you just did that. I didn't miss that.
I know.
Paul plugged my book, Impact.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which you then plugged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why haven't you plugged my book?
I just plugged your Barbells and Brews, didn't I? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So give the mic back, will you?
Plug my book.
What's your book?
I don't have one.
Yeah, I know. Write the darn thing. And let me remind everybody, this is how Gene and I met. He inquired about having a ghostwriter for his book. Had he employed me last summer, that book would have been written and published.
I didn't have any idea that I would actually find a real ghost.
But wait, is that an age joke? Or is it just because I'm pale? Wait till August, buddy. So, Paul, you've worked in broadcasting forever, right?
A long time.
Okay. What's interesting, though, and Gene, you'll appreciate this because Gene is from Overbrook, lives in Westchester. Paul grew up in Westchester, now lives in Nashville by way of North Carolina and a few other states, correct? So what brings you back to Philly, and why is Philadelphia still your home when you left here in your teens? And please talk right into the mic because I'm picking up all this other noise.
You know, I left here when I was a kid, but this is still home because this is where it all
He said home on
started.
purpose there. He did that on purpose because I know he doesn't usually do that.
This is where it all started for me. You know, people leave their home country and they go to the new country. Well, this is the old country for me.
I get that. I appreciate that.
And I am actually here in town for the Shortwave Listeners Festival. I'll be speaking at the closing night banquet. So it gives me an opportunity to get up and run my mouth and employ many of the tips I learned in Impact.
Oh, that's great. Tell me about this shortwave.
Yes.
What is that?
Shortwave radio is a little different. It's the norm in many other countries. It's not the norm in America. We have AM and FM. Shortwave can go over longer distances.
Is that ham radio, basically?
Right. It's a lot like AM radio, but more powerful. We have two transmitters. We have two transmitter facilities. We've got 4 transmitters, 2 in Anchor Point, Alaska, and 2 in Majanga, Madagascar. Those can reach the entire world.
But this is what ham operators use, am I right?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. Are you a ham radio operator?
I am not. I'm just a ham.
How did you get chosen to speak at this conference?
They asked me because they wanted a broadcaster to speak, and I have attended this for several years to promote what we do at World Christian Broadcasting, and I said I would be honored. And I am going to be talking about why we believe in shortwave, going to be telling a little bit about what we do there, and maybe even throw in a joke or two.
I think there will be many more jokes than one or two.
Of course. It's me we're talking about here.
So where do you work in Nashville? Tell us about Christian World Radio, World Christian Radio.
Okay, World Christian Broadcasting started back in the 70s, actually. The founder got the idea when he was in World War II. He was a radio officer and figured, well, you know, if they can transmit government stuff, why can't we transmit gospel messages? So they started in 1976 and then went on the air in Anchor Point, Alaska in 1983.
So this is a shortwave broadcast.
Right.
Okay.
And the magazine format we use is different. We don't get on the air and nag people. We don't preach. We don't beg for money. You will never hear us say stuff like, you know, like, you're going to burn in hell. You're not going to hear any of that stuff.
Okay.
We don't do that. And again, we never ask listeners for money. That is our policy. And
do you have commercials? Is it?
No, we have 3 development officers who go out and solicit,
beg for bucks.
Right. They solicit donations from individuals, churches, and the occasional foundation. I like to call our format NPR Got Religion. It's quite similar to that.
Okay. So what is your show all about, and what's the name of your show?
The name of our show that I'm on is basically called the English Hour. We call it that because we have more than one language. We have international English, we have Russian, we have Mandarin Chinese, we have Spanish, Arabic, and African English, which is slightly different from what we would use.
Sure, understood. I've actually had African students and have had trouble understanding them. Just different method. A friend of mine, her daughter-in-law is from Great Britain, and some of her vernacular is different, and I'm like, wait, what? I wish I could remember some of the things she says, but, And then, of course, she had to get used to ours as well. I noticed, too, just from Nashville to Philadelphia, you came in here and you, before we got on air, you were talking about stopping at Acme. Now, there's a vernacular. Gene's playing on his phone. He totally missed that.
I'm listening to everything.
I thought that was cute. Anyway, that's a real Philly thing, the Acme. Your show airs how often, and how can somebody find it if they don't have a shortwave radio?
Our show airs 4 times a day out of Alaska. No, let me rephrase that. We air 4 times a day, period. The English Hour airs twice a day out of Madagascar and twice a day out of Alaska.
Is it the same show that airs twice a day?
Yes, because it's different time zones.
Gotcha.
And different shortwave frequencies.
So you're on air every single day?
I'm on the air every single day.
And what happens when you're traveling?
Our shows are pre-recorded.
Okay.
Because everything is produced in Nashville, and then it's sent via the internet to Alaska and Madagascar.
Okay.
And the way we do that is they send it, and we record all the shows there. In Nashville, we have a production facility, and that's where we do our thing.
So tell me about some of the guests that you have on. I mean, you don't just do Christian stuff. You actually do a lot of secular things as well, correct?
Right. We do. We have a mix. We have a mix of secular and religious topics, and a lot of the interviews I have done, for instance, we've interviewed, we had Secretary Donald Rumsfeld on. When his book Rumsfeld's Rules came out. We had Senator Joe Lieberman on when his book The Gift of Rest was about the Sabbath. Very good book. We had on some lady who talked about her book Gravy Wars.
Who the heck could that have been?
I don't know, but it made me hungry. Yeah. I got hungry at the end.
This is a guy that still uses recipes in that book and writes about it on Facebook every time he cooks something. So I don't know if you're trying to brag about your culinary expertise or if you're just giving me plugs, but I appreciate it.
Both.
That's wonderful. Paul's a great guy.
Yes, Aunt Terry's Mushroom Artichoke Chicken, folks, is awesome. I highly recommend it.
Aunt Terry's awesome. She's the best. She's quite a cook.
We've also had some lesser-known guests. We interviewed a young lady named Chloe Howard, who endured 17 surgeries for a club foot.
Wow.
And she was mocked. She was assaulted in school. But now she goes around and helps kids who have been bullied, assaulted, and all that kind of stuff.
So you do a lot of lifestyle interviews and things that just would be of interest. What kind of following do you have, and how do you measure it?
Well, it's hard to measure because shortwave radio, there's no rating service. There's no Nielsen audio for shortwave radio. But we get a lot of mail from around the world. We get email, we get snail mail. Occasionally we get messages on our Facebook page. I don't think our show's on Twitter yet, but Facebook page and the email, we get...
So tell us again where we can find your show.
Okay, the best place for everyone to go listening here in America is worldchristian.org, worldchristian.org, and there are links to click to the programs. Just follow the links.
Now, we were talking in the last episode about copyrights and trademarks. Have you ever encountered a situation where you thought some of your produced material was taken, unscrupulously, where maybe they should have gotten permission, or have you ever encountered any of that? Because we have Adam here, you might as well ask him.
I have not. We're very careful about that because in the English department where I am, our senior producer, Rob Scobie, hi Rob, giving you a shout out there. He and I have both worked in broadcasting and journalism for a long time. We're very scrupulous about making sure we don't do that. As far as I know, we've never had anybody do that. In fact, in my entire career, the only time anybody ever did that was one time a religious magazine, which is No More, took one of my pieces and ran it. But unfortunately...
because they ran it, they went out of business?
Well, it wasn't that bad. No, they went out of business because they did that to a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
So unfortunately, they're out of business. They're gone, counselor. Otherwise, I would say sick them. But we are very scrupulous about that on our end. We abide by the fair use thing because occasionally we will use a little bit of, we'll use a snippet of music to illustrate something.
Right.
But we also play music, so, we have the thing with BMI and ASCAP and all those guys, so we want to make sure we're kosher.
So good. So when this is all wrapped up, this show, and if I share it with you, I think safe to say I don't think Gene will argue, and if he does, I'll fight him on it. You can take any piece of this interview and run it on your show. We'd be happy.
Oh, I would be honored. I think that'd make a great segment, and I'm definitely going to play portions of it for the brass where I work so they can... hear how brilliant I am.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Of course, we would never get on that network with your language, Gene.
You went down the path I was going to take, and I said all my friends and the people that know me right now are going, World Christian Network, and Gene, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Everybody's sweating. So I'm going to ask the question.
What's the question?
You ready?
What is it?
Are you sure you're ready?
Oh, don't.
No. Are you sure you're ready?
I'm not ready.
Am I going to make Paul uncomfortable?
Yeah, probably.
I probably am. So here's what I have to know. I hate country music. And my wife wants to go to Nashville. If I came to Nashville, would I want to jump off a cliff?
Not at all, from what I hear.
Or, you tell me.
You would not want to jump off a cliff. You'd have to be careful about those bird scooters that are going through downtown. People are on those. You have to watch out for those. But there's a lot more to Nashville than just country music. The Country Music Hall of Fame is interesting, even if you're not into country music. We have a brand new Tennessee State Museum that's massive. It's awesome. We have an awesome art museum, the Frist Art Museum. In fact, if you guys come to Nashville, I will take you and your wife to the Frist Art Museum as my guests.
Wow.
I'm a member.
I'm on that trip. Bob and I are coming with you guys.
Only if we're allowed to come in studio and do a live recording of World Christian Radio.
Yeah, but you really not need to watch your language. I mean, come on. You go to church every week. You don't curse in church.
Wait a minute. Who goes to church?
You don't? All right, let's not even. I thought you did.
Oh, listen, you're rethinking this whole partnership.
Yeah, pretty much am.
How do you not know this?
I don't know anything. Let me go with my assumptions. I always put everybody up on a pedestal.
All right. Okay, good. I'll stay on the pedestal.
You
Fine.
want to assume the best.
Yes, I go to church every week, yes.
A couple that we're friendly with just went to Nashville, came back and told my husband and me that we need to go. They say every corner is a bar, and it's all kinds of music. And in one bar, there's several floors where they're playing country on one floor, rock and roll on another. And I didn't hear anything about disco, so I might be out. But I'm just kidding. But no, I hear it's a great place. And isn't Nashville like the second largest music? And is it New York and then Nashville and then L.A. or New York,
L.A.?
I
believe that's
Nashville,
right, because there's a lot of recording there, and not just country. Like I said,
it's
there's
everything.
Gospel, there's a lot of rap
There's a lot
artists
of
in
rock,
Nashville,
yeah.
jazz, also home of the world-famous Fisk Jubilee Singers.
What is that?
They're from Fisk University, which is an historically black college university, HBCU. Been around since 1866, I think, but the Fisk Jubilee Singers have gone on world tours, and they have been great ambassadors for Nashville's music.
How about that?
And Michael McDonald lives in the Nashville suburbs of Doobie Brothers fame. Peter Frampton used to live there. I think he moved to Ohio.
Well, that's where he belongs.
Right.
Look, I saw Peter Frampton. Now, I love Peter Frampton. I loved Peter Frampton in the 70s, and I'm old enough to remember. Here's the problem. I went to see him. I'm going to say we saw him at the Tower Theater within the last 10 years, maybe about 8 years ago. And the concert was great. He sounded fabulous. And he did all of his hits, great. And then he did some new stuff, and we're like, okay. And then he starts with this whole presentation. It was all political. I'm like, you know what, dude? I didn't come here to be lectured at about your politics. I just wanted to hear the music.
And you just referenced the Doobie Brothers and Peter Frampton, and you get mad at me when I say you're old.
Stop it.
Come on, really?
So here's my beef with Michael McDonald. We went to see, now this is going back 12 years. We went to see Steely Dan at one of the casinos in Atlantic City. Michael McDonald opened with them. Stop it. And I'm getting busted on left and right here. You know what? I want everybody to take out their licenses. I want to see how old you all are. Anyway, Michael McDonald was great back in the day, but he just needs to ride on that, what he was. 12 years ago, I heard him, and he just sounded awful. I'm sorry. Steely Dan sounded great, and they were both live then, and they were fabulous, Michael
Maybe
McDonald,
he's not
so
reeling
much.
in the years.
He's not, no. So what are you looking at, Gene? You look concerned. Oh, okay, we're good. Go ahead, Adam, get in there. Say it.
Nice try.
All right, Gene. I feel like I've monopolized the interview here.
No, only because I think you, of the two of us, you're less likely to say something off color. So I think you're the right one interviewing.
I told you before, I have FCC brain. It's kind of ingrained in you when you come up in broadcasting.
Yeah, and like you said, for somebody who has a cold,
I do have a cold.
You're doing all right.
Do I sound all right? I sound nasally, though.
You would know better in your headphones.
Yeah, I sound nasally.
I don't think so. I think you sound great.
Yeah, because you don't have headphones on.
No, you sound fine.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
No, you continue with this. I love it.
Okay, Paul.
I wanted to throw something in. You mentioned that you went to the Peter Frampton concert and he gave a political lecture.
Right.
That is something we do not do on the air. We do not tell people how to vote. For one thing, most of the people listening are overseas. They can't vote for candidates. We just don't do that. I mean, it's not our job to tell people how to vote or what to think about this, that, or the other thing. We're just trying to be their friend, present a program, and, as Chairman Mark Fowler of the FCC used to say, put it out there and let the marketplace decide.
Yeah. You did some hardcore reporting back in the day, didn't you? Or were you a beat reporter before you went on
Yes.
air? So what kind of things did you cover?
Well, I worked for Metro Networks, a Westwood One company.
So did I.
For many years. We had to say that every time we answered the phone. So I always throw that in a speech or reference. I also worked for News Talk 1510 WLAC in Nashville.
Which is a sister station of, I would imagine, KYW? No? News Talk?
Well, this
was
is
it
more
then? Was
News
it
Talk.
CBS? Was it?
It's 1510 WLAC, which was Nashville. It was a big rock station for years. Then it was
Who
News
owned
Talk.
it? Who owned it?
Now it is owned by iHeart.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But I was there through, I want to say, 6 different ownerships.
Wow.
And I wasn't there all that long. But
No, that happens. That happened to me at Shadow Traffic.
Yes.
It was one owner after another. At one point, a restaurateur, which was great. We had the best Christmas parties ever at that point, but it was short-lived.
But yeah, we don't do politics. We don't hit people over the head. A lot of religious broadcasting is they whack people over the head with a Bible. You know, it's like, you're going to hell, like I said earlier. We don't do that. In fact, the only time we ever refer to hell is, as a bad place, and we keep it to one syllable. A lot of TV evangelists don't.
Yeah. Okay. So what else besides the radio show? Do you do some writing?
I do some writing. I write for a weekly newspaper we have in Nashville, the Green Hills News. And in fact, just the day before I came up here, I did a lengthy interview with our mayor, David Briley, on his first year in office. I've known him for a long time. And in fact, when he first got elected, here's a funny story. When he first got elected to the city council at large, that's been about, I don't know how many years ago it was. It was a long time ago. But the restaurant was about 10 times noisier than what we're hearing in here. And I had to go in the men's room to do live reports. And in fact, there was a famous soundbite that one of my colleagues, Josh Nelson, saved. He said, "Paul, where are you?" And I said, "Well, right now my career's in the toilet, and so am I." And I think he actually put that on the air.
Oh, my gosh. Why wouldn't you? That's
hilarious.
good radio.
And I was yelling at the mayor that night.
Wow.
The future mayor. There was a former mayor there, and I was having to yell at him. So I tell people, that was the night I got to yell at 2 mayors. How many people get to do that?
Well, you had some good stories. I know you share them a lot on Facebook, and that's always very entertaining. You like social media?
I do. I like social media because it keeps me connected with friends from the past. I've made some new friends, and it's great.
What has it done for your radio show?
We get a lot of messages on there. People like stuff. They'll send us messages. They want this, that, or the other thing. Sometimes they request something they've heard on the air. And that's one other thing I want to throw in. We have some materials we send listeners, but we never charge for it. We give it away. It is absolutely free.
What kind of material?
Well, some people want a Bible, people in other countries.
Oh, okay.
So we send the easy-to-read Bible, which was originally written for the deaf, and it's used English as a second language. It's very simple. We send those out. We have different materials. Maybe somebody wants a frequency schedule. They don't have access to the internet, so we send them a frequency schedule. It tells them what times they can listen to what language.
Okay.
And we have some other inspirational materials we send from time to time.
How many people are employed at World Christian?
In our headquarters in Nashville, we have about 25. I think in Madagascar, we probably have, I don't know, about 9 or 10 Malagasy nationals that work there. And in Alaska, I think we have 6.
Have you been to either location, Madagascar
I have
or
not.
Alaska?
I'm not important enough. As I always tell people, we have a CEO and I'm the CE schmo.
Okay.
But they won't let me put that on a business card.
Just do it. Vistaprint.
That's a good idea. I wanted to mention one other interview that might be of interest to Philadelphia people, a couple, since you have a lot of listeners here in Delaware Valley. Larry Kane has been on my show a bunch of times, every time he has a new book. And the first time I interviewed him was at WLAC when Ticket to Ride came out. And we talked when he's done the Lennon Revealed, When They Were Boys. We even did Death by Deadline. We don't normally do a lot of fiction authors, but it's the great man Larry Kane, one of my heroes in the business. So yes, we did. And he also talked about that, I'm drawing the blank on the name of the movie, but it was the documentary about the Beatles that Ron Howard did.
Okay.
And Larry was prominently interviewed, and it probably got as much face time as the guys did. And I'm drawing a blank on it. No, Can't Buy Me Love, maybe that was it. Can't Buy Me Love. And we also had Archbishop Charles Chaput on when his book, Strangers in a Strange Land was released. And
so what I'm hearing is if somebody puts a book out, they get an interview on your show. So if Gene ever does print his book, he might get on your show.
I would be honored to have you on, Gene. And if you say anything, we'll just edit it out.
My filter's good enough where I could keep it together.
He can do it.
I actually don't use specific language in front of ladies for the most part.
Thank you.
Not my wife. My wife's a different breed.
Okay.
I told you she's Sicilian. She
That's
probably
just
throws
bad.
out more F-bombs than I do. So I don't curtail it around her, but for the most part around people, I can filter it. So you wouldn't have to worry about that.
Well, I'm no lady, so it's not going to freak me out.
All right, so tell us one more time where people can find you.
Okay, people can find me. worldchristian.org is the best place to find our program. There are links on there. You can go over there, and it'll tell you where to hear the broadcast. If people want to find me, I'm on Facebook. I'm Paul Ladd, and I'm also Paul Ladd1 on Twitter.
Paul Ladd1. Okay, worldchristian.org. Follow Paul Ladd on Twitter, Paul Ladd1 on Facebook. Gene, you want to tell everybody where they can hear us?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. You're the one that usually spits these out.
So
We're
iTunes.
iTunes. We're
Google
on
Play,
YouTube.
Google Podcasts.
Google Podcasts?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Is that new?
Yeah. Well, no, so they're sort of moving their podcast to Google Podcast.
Okay.
And because we're on Play, by proxy we're on podcast.
Okay, cool.
Spotify.
Yes.
Stitcher.
Yep.
SoundCloud.
Yep,
our website, marketingrv.com.
Marketingrv.com.
Or if you follow me at the Gene Volpe on Instagram, or you at
Lorraine Rinaldi
on Instagram, we're always
Twitter.
posting stuff. And actually, don't we have an Instagram page?
Yeah, we have Instagram and a Twitter page now. We're doing okay on Insta. We're not doing well on Twitter. How do we get some Twitter followers? This is your forte. Without paying for them. I want to do this organically.
Twitter's a different animal.
I
let's
know.
focus on Instagram. So tell people how to get. So here's what we need. We need them to go to one of those platforms.
Write a review.
Subscribe first.
Right.
And then write a 5. Not just a review. We need a 5-star review.
Okay, we need a
So
5-star,
tell us how
of course.
friggin' great we are.
All right.
Okay?
Gene needs to hear that every so
Or
often.
at least tell everybody how great Lorraine is.
Oh, that's sweet.
I'm okay with that.
I thought you were going to say the other way around.
Yes, tell them how great they are and how great thou art.
All right, thank you. Ciao.